Oh, hey there. Come on in. We're just about to start. Welcome to My Wife, the Dietitian, a fun weekly podcast about nutrition and healthy lifestyle. I'm Rob, and together with my wife, Sandra, we invite you to join us on this informative and entertaining journey through the complex world of healthy eating.
Join us each week as we strive to help you with transforming your overall health and relationship with food through up-to-date, evidence-based nutrition information. Do you hear yourself or anyone in your family say, just one more bite, then you can have dessert? We need to stop this. Stop bartering with food. Trust your kids' own hunger. As adults, we have to tune into our own internal hunger cues too. This helps us all be more mindful and intuitive when eating. Tune into our discussion today on the hunger scale.
Welcome to My Wife, the Dietitian. Hello, Sandra.
Hello, Rob.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. I want to talk today about a theme that Liz Weiss had mentioned about the 80% full with the blue zones. When people feel they're getting full, then they stop eating.
At 80%. That's a smart rule, I guess.
Well, yeah. And I talk about hunger scale with clients all the time because I think in our culture, we have a lot of distracted eating. So we are not being mindful of when we're actually eating. So then our brain and our body aren't connected about, okay, I just ate that and I didn't even realize I was eating it, but the bag's empty kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. We also seem to really value quantity versus, I'm just thinking of there's so many restaurants where it's like you get excited because it's a big portion. Mm-hmm. Or you want a big portion, or you go to the all-you-can-eat buffet kind of places and you gorge yourself, Mm-hmm. It seems to be the focus is more on quantity than it should be.
Yeah.
That's just something we've learned maybe over time, but.
Yeah, and recently I've been doing some groups about strategies for picky eating with family groups in our local area and talking about helping the family around the dinner table and with picky eating. And there's a book I read called French Kids Eat Everything, and yours can too, by Karen Baker LeBillon, who was a UBC professor.
Maybe it's LeBillon.
Yes, LeBillon. She actually went over to France and took her family for a sabbatical and lived there. And she wrote this book, and it's so interesting. It's so good. Can I read the back, the French food rules?
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Okay. Rule number 1, parents, you are in charge of food education.
The parent is?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
So that makes sense. Number 2, avoid emotional eating.
Oh, that's a good rule for everyone, adults included.
Yes. So no food rewards, bribes, which is so hard, but this is super important. And that's a big one, actually, I talk about with the strategies for picky eating, because food is not a pacifier. It's parents, a lot of times it's an easy way. If kids are tired or impatient, you give them a food, you give them snack, and then that kind of pacifies them for a bit.
Yeah.
Or rewards. We talk about you don't get ice cream unless you eat your broccoli. So that's saying the kid internalizes that as broccoli must be really bad if I need a reward to eat it.
Totally.
So all food should be on a similar level playing field. And also sometimes parents can withhold food and say, if you keep teasing your sister, you don't get dinner.
That is true. Yeah.
So that is another way. It's an emotional eating.
Well, yeah, you're using food to kind of, I don't know, blackmail. Is that the right word?
Yeah, or bribe.
To coerce your child to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. Or, candy for good behavior. They even do this in schools sometimes. You get candy or Smarties or treats or something for good behavior. And again, you're using food.
True.
It's, food should be when we sit and we eat a meal together. That's food.
It's even at the dentist. If you sit in the chair and you're good while you're getting your teeth cleaned, you get a sucker when you're done.
Not our dentist.
Not anymore. That's when I was a kid. That's what it was. When it just,
really?
Even as a kid, I just felt like, isn't this kind of like, well, I guess it brings me back to get my teeth cleaned again.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's kind of ironic.
Right, funny. Yeah. But the thing is, like, I guess apparently from this book, she says the French don't punish or reward with food. And then generally adults, like as they grow up, people don't have the same emotional baggage and they don't deal with their emotions with food.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Which is, common in North American culture is, burying your emotions by eating or, culinary therapy.
Culinary therapy. Yeah, totally.
And a big one too, this is really interesting, is no eating in the car, no eating in the stroller, no eating standing up. Food is served only at the table when everyone is sitting down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. I love it. It's.
I guess it makes you focus, though. I can see, like, food becomes a distraction in those other places. So, and you're not focused, you're not being mindful with your food, but you're also not being mindful of the things and activities that are going on around you.
And it's basically a celebration and the consideration for the cook that's done the work to prepare the meal. And when you sit down, there's no saying, I'm not eating this, or, there's no short order cooking. Like there's only basically the parents schedule the meals. So we always said parents are in control of what and when, and children are in control of if they eat it and how much. So they're totally can refuse, but they're not eating at that meal then. And they're not going to starve. They'll just be hungry for the next one, which is a great natural consequence.
Yeah, you got it.
So, sorry, I got on a bit of a tangent. That was food rule number 2 was avoid emotional eating, which is, I think I talked a lot about that is because, like, a big reason I talked about that is in my practice with so many adults that are trying to deal with emotional eating, it stems a lot from childhood. And if we can kind of set better tradition and routines as a young family, it really helps to prevent all the problems that come in adulthood with overeating or emotional eating and all that.
True. Yeah, it's good to recognize that. And then, you can prevent it for the next generation is what you're suggesting, hey?
Yeah, exactly. So number 3 rule is parents schedule meals and menus. Kids eat what adults eat. No short order cooking.
No kids menu.
No.
Yep.
No, they eat what adults eat. Whatever is being made is what the family gets.
It was funny when I was a kid, I remember certain times going out for dinner. We used to go out for dinner a lot, and certain times, like, you'd go to the restaurant and I'd get the kids menu because that's what they give you. But I always liked what my parents were eating. I'm like, I want what you have. Like, all I have is like burgers and fries and chicken strips and hot dogs and kid food. But the stuff they were eating looked awesome. And so when I was a little bit older, like maybe, I don't know, 12 or even maybe a little younger than that, I started ordering like the stuff my parents were getting. I was getting like escargot, which is like not something you think a kid would eat because it's snails. But it was so good. I loved it. It became like my thing, my go-to. Like every time we went out, I would always look to see if they had escargot, and I would get that on the menu. And even the serving staff would look at me like I was like, what kind of kid are you? You're ordering escargot? Are you sure?
Isn't that funny?
Do you know what it is?
You know what? Like, we were destined to meet, honey, because I wasn't that young. I wasn't 10, but when I was like 16 and I'd go out for dinner with my girlfriends, I would order that and they thought I was nuts. They were like, who are you? What are you doing ordering snails? That's disgusting.
Isn't that funny? Like, where do we learn that though? Like, where do we learn that that's disgusting?
I know.
Do you know what I mean? Like, is that just like society has taught us that as people of that age, we're not supposed to like that kind of food? So that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I would love to see that change. And that's what you're saying in France. The kids probably aren't like that because they've always eaten adult food.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is great.
Yeah. The name of the book is French Kids Eat Everything, and yours can too. It's so cool. Okay, number 4, eat family meals together. No distractions.
Yeah. Well, how many times have we said that? We've had so many guests on that, and that's fairly common sense, but not everyone does it. No. It's a hard thing to do. So it's good to make it a priority if you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Number 5, eat your veggies. Key, think variety. So think a color of the rainbow. Think lots of different options for veggies.
Yeah. You know what I really like, and I've noticed this, maybe it's been like this for a long time and I'm just noticing it, but there seems to be in the frozen food section way more mixed vegetable options as far as like bags of mixed vegetables. You can get like Thai vegetables that have all like basically a stir fry in a bag.
Yeah.
Like it's easy. You just open the bag and it's amazing.
And like corn, like the little corn.
Yeah, little baby corns. Like it used to just be like frozen peas, frozen corn.
Carrots.
Like kind of boring stuff. So I'm glad to see that the market is changing and they're adding a lot more interesting things to the frozen food menu.
Love it.
Because it just, like sometimes I'll make dinner and it'll take me like 3 minutes because I just open a bag of frozen stuff and throw it in a pan and, mix some sauce and throw some other things in there and it's done and it's delicious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and your dinner tonight smells so good. What's in that?
Just a bunch of stuff.
Like what?
Well, it's going to be a pasta sauce. Well, it is a pasta sauce. We're having pasta for dinner. So it's a sauce. We've got some Just Like Ground, which is like ground beef, but it's way faster.
Veggie ground round. Okay.
Yeah, there's garlic, there's mushrooms, there's onions, red peppers. There's some pinto beans. Because we're adding beans to everything now.
Yes.
And pinto beans, there's garlic, there's spinach. There's cilantro. Yeah, I put a bunch of cilantro in there because cilantro doesn't last. So I'm like, oh, this is starting to get, we got to get
funky.
It isn't funky. It's going to be funky tomorrow. So yeah, so that's in there. And yeah, it'll be good. Tasty.
Sounds so good. Okay, let's go back to the list on the back here. Number 6, you don't have to like it, but do have to taste it.
Yeah, that was kind of always a rule that I was familiar with when I was a kid.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I don't know if it was our house or if it was just somewhere I've ran into that, but it's probably our house.
Okay. I suggest people say that you don't like it. You don't have to like it, but you have to taste it. So I really think parents get used to saying that at most meals, especially if they have a picky eater in the family. Instead of saying 3 more bites, 2 more bites, 1 more bite, or anything about number of bites to go, because the child's going to dig in their heels even more, and you're setting up a battleground. If you're saying just 3 more bites, you're basically telling them how hungry they are, and they're going to be more and more resistive. So you don't have to like it, but you do have to taste it.
Yeah,
that's all.
And a lot of times they'll like it.
Yeah. And you know what? It's really important for adults, for young people, everybody to tune into internal hunger cues. That is so important. And there's so much noise out there on the media about what you should eat, what you should be doing, what parents should be feeding their kids, all of that. And really, we want people to tune into how they feel and how what's their hunger telling them on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being, I'm so hungry, I want to eat my arm off, to 10 being, oh my God, that was the most filling Thanksgiving dinner. I'm going to lie on the couch, unbuckle my pants, and I'm not eating for a week.
Exactly.
Kind of stuffed.
Yeah.
So you don't want to go to those extremes. You want to be in the middle. You want to be like a 4 to 6 would be great. To kind of like, that you're going to start getting hungry after 4 or 5 hours without eating. you have to plan for the day that you know that you're going to get hungry, because that's your body. You're a human body. You should be hungry. I hope you're hungry, because if you're not, you've probably had lots of dieting in the past and you've turned off those cues. And so it's really important to try to listen again and turn them back on. Just like if you have to go pee, you're not going to like not go pee because you're like, I have to pee. Well, go pee then, like go to the washroom and go pee. If you really have to eat, you should eat. But at the same time, we don't have to be eating all the time. So it's like, eating every 3 or 4 hours, and having, pretty regular meals and snacks instead of not eating all day and just eating one meal, or intermittent fasting, I say in quotes, and like restricting yourself because it's an external diet or an externally
driven diet.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's not based on your hunger cues.
Yeah, exactly. And actually it's interesting because in this French Kids Eat Everything, and yours can too, number 7 is no snacking. And in France, they don't snack. Kids don't snack. So
interesting.
And it says it's okay to feel a little hungry between meals, which I get is like, it's okay to have a bit of feeling hungry, because then you are tuned in. You're tuned in. But if you're getting like really hungry and like hangry, or like low blood sugar hungry.
Oh, true. Yeah.
That's not good. But if you have a routine, and in France, apparently they have the routine of basically 3 meals a day and a snack. So it's like breakfast, lunch, after school snack, dinner. That's it.
That's kind of like how it used to be for us when we were young.
Yeah.
I think there's just way more food options available on it, and snack, like the snack market is massive.
Yeah.
Like there didn't used to be all those different kinds of snacks when we were kids, but now people have realized, oh, kids like snacks. Let's just pump them out. And so there's so many different, exactly. There's so many different things that you can eat any time of day.
Yeah. And well, the food companies, they make these snacks and then they need to sell them. And it's just like the consumption just keeps going up. It's not going down.
No, exactly.
That, then we look and wonder why there's such a problem.
Yeah, with obesity and diabetes and all these things. And it's like, oh, kids are getting it nowadays too, which is totally new. And yeah, that's a reason. It's all the different things available to everyone now. Yeah,
it could definitely be related to that. And another good rule of thumb with everybody eating is kind of eat during the daylight hours. So this is how it used to be, generations ago. You eat when the sun rises, you get up and then you start eating, and then you have your meals, you do your work. And then when the sun goes down, you stop eating.
Yeah, your body slows down and you don't need the food anymore. And
you get, of course, shift work that, you get into trouble with shift work because you have to stay up all night. So you have to be awake, which is against your circadian rhythm. And then people use food to stay awake or for other reasons. So that's tricky. And they've actually have classified shift work as a potential carcinogen.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's dangerous. It's like you should get danger pay if you have to do shift work, especially if it's for, years and years and years ongoing. Having said that, we did do an episode on shift work. Yes. That had quite a lot of good ideas about how to deal if you are a shift worker. I mean, that's your gig. That's what you got to do. We gave a lot of tips in that episode about how to get through it. Yeah, we interviewed our friend Jacob Hansen, who's a firefighter. So that was really awesome to hear his take on things. Yeah, so you can tune into that. Sandra's just looking it up here. 62. Episode 62. All about shift work. And shift work, sleep, eating, and health. Yeah, so there you go. Jacob Hansen. Check that one out. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the last 3 tips here. Okie doke. So number 8, slow food is happy food, as in eat slowly. Oh, eat slowly. Okay. Yeah, yes. Yeah. You're good at that. Makes sense. Yeah, I'm a really slow eater. I eat a lot of food, but I'm also a slow eater. So like, I remember years ago being at this big family dinner and
there was like 12 people at the table, and I just met a lot of them, and I was still eating. I'm a slow eater. I'm still eating, and everyone at the table was done, and they're all looking at me, and they're like, holy, I can't remember. There was some comment because I was still going, and they were all done, and then I wanted more because I also eat a lot of food. So
well, and they should all take lessons from you because
exactly.
It's actually really good to eat slow.
If I had known that back then, I would have schooled them all.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's in our culture. It's like everything's fast forward.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, I think they were all just trying to be polite until I was done, but they all wanted to be like out of there. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, but I bet you don't have indigestion.
I do not.
No. That's right. So, and okay, number 9 is eat mostly real foods.
Yeah, that's nice. Real foods are good.
Yeah, whole, minimally processed. So treats, special occasion are okay, but real food. And number 10, eating is joyful. Relax.
It should be.
Mm-hmm.
It can be.
It should be.
Yeah.
We have like at least 3 opportunities for meals to be tasty and delicious and give us some joy and pleasure in life.
3 opportunities every day.
Every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then a snack or 2, depending on what your schedule looks like and your routines. But yeah, I mean, let's make it joyful. And we just did a nutrition nuggets on smoothie bowls. So that could be a snack or a breakfast or, those are delicious and flavorful and nutritious. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking of our interview last week with Liz Weiss about the Blue Zones and talking about those communities and how they really value eating and the meal preparation and the whole process of even everything from growing the food to eating it. They prioritize it and they value it a lot. And we don't tend to do that in our culture as much. And I think if we did, like we do it at special times a year, or if it's a special dinner or something like that, but it shouldn't have to be special. Every day should be like that. It's like, it shouldn't just be reserved for special occasions.
Yeah.
So if we kind of put more of a priority on eating together and valuing the food and being grateful for it and eating mindfully and all those things we keep saying, do it more often. Make a goal of doing it a couple times a week and then adding a couple more times a week, and make it a special, not a special occasion, but make it part of your regular routine, having your meal be celebrated.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this really helps with promoting mindful eating. So it helps with understanding your sensations for hunger and fullness and making more conscious choices about what you're eating and when and how. It helps to prevent the overeating and also undereating.
You're talking about the list that we just went through?
Yeah, like a hunger scale.
I see,
if we're talking about listening to your internal hunger cues. Mm-hmm. It also helps to improve your satisfaction with meals and you get greater pleasure from food. So like your point there.
Mm-hmm, totally.
And it also helps you become more autonomous and it empowers it's like self-trust in making food related decisions. If you can really decide if you're feeling hungry or too full, like we're not machines, we're different. Every day is different. We might have more energy one day and want more food because we have more hunger. We might not feel as hungry other days, so we don't eat as much. It's not, that's why when parents say 3 more bites or, they're pushing for the child to eat more, this is the parent's problem, not the child's problem. Mm-hmm. Basically, the parent is responsible for what the food is and when, and setting a good structure around eating. And the child is responsible for if they're going to eat it and how much.
Exactly.
So there's no bribing or 3 more bites, that kind of thing.
I'm just thinking, a few times this week, I wasn't really that hungry for dinner. I had low-key days. I didn't do a lot, so I wasn't craving a ton of food. I probably ate a lot for lunch, but by the time dinner came around, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really that hungry. I think I might just have
soup.
Yeah, soup or, an egg and a piece of toast or but not a big honking meal like I usually have. But a lot of parents maybe think, oh, it's dinner time. You got to eat all the food on your plate.
Yeah.
But the kids are probably, they could be like I was. And it's like, I'm not really that hungry. And that's just how we roll. And it's like Sandra was saying, it's good to be able to be in control of your own decisions around food and understanding those cues in your body and knowing and being able to say, yeah, I'm not that hungry. I don't need to eat.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just like, it's also giving your child their own self-trust in their own body and their own decisions. Because if we micromanage our kids, or if we're always telling them how they feel, it's hard for them to learn and to make good decisions.
Exactly. 100%.
Actually, it was interesting because we were talking about this yesterday, and it was funny what you said. You said, what if it was like alcohol? And,
oh, yeah.
And you're like, the parent is saying, just take 3 more drinks.
Yeah.
It seems like, I don't know if that's a good, it doesn't really make sense, but at the same time, I get what you're saying. It's like,
the thinking makes sense, but the analogy's kind of skewed because you're talking about kids and alcohol, but but you'd never do that. That was my point. You'd never do that with alcohol.
Yeah.
But peas on their plate and another bite of their chicken or whatever, like you're totally pushing it. Pushing.
It's peer pressure.
It's exactly.
It's parent pressure.
It's pressure, yeah.
It's parent pressure.
And you're coercing them, and So if you think about it from another perspective, like if it was alcohol, you would never do that to somebody, not your child, but to anybody, you'd never push it on them. Mm-hmm. But why is that okay with food then?
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
And then that's actually sets up picky eating.
It does. Well, there's a whole thing on that too. I mean, you create that dynamic between you and your child where they just become resistant, and then food is what you're fighting over. And then, that's just one of those things, like Sandra was saying in the beginning, that becomes an adult issue if it's not resolved in childhood.
Yeah, exactly. In one part of this book, French Kids Eat Everything, she decided to put a plan together. So the new food routines versus what we have to change. So this is really interesting. So our new food routines were eat 4 meals per day, breakfast, lunch, after school snack, and dinner. And what we have to change, no more random extra snacks, especially bedtime snacks.
Smart. Yeah. Helps them sleep probably.
Yeah. And, it's a distraction. A lot of times I'm hungry. I didn't eat or whatever. Well, then you're going to be hungry for a next meal. That's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. True.
It's okay to be hungry for the meal. Actually, that's a French saying, I think, is every meal you should be hungry for the meal. Like it's a big part of eating. It's
funny. I'm just remembering back to when our kids were small. That's a tactic that they learn because they know that parents are so concerned about how much the child eats that if the kid doesn't want to go to bed, they will use that to their advantage, and they'll be like, I'm really hungry. And you think, okay, I better give them food because they're hungry and they need to eat.
Exactly.
But they've learned that that's important to you, and they're just using it against you.
Yeah. And, kids...
I've seen so many kids do that.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. It's like one last ploy to stay out of bed, stay up a little longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Eat only at the table. So no eating in the stroller, car, or anywhere else. Eating slowly. No gulping or gobbling. Every bite has to be chewed slowly. And children eat when they are served. Adults, not children, decide what is served.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so there's no substitutes or replacement dishes, short order cooking, no extra fillers like bread and butter if they didn't eat something.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's common, I think. Oh, they didn't eat their required amount. So let's just give them some bread and butter.
Fill them up.
Because we know they like that.
Yeah.
It's setting kids up.
Exactly.
For emotional eating and using food for different ways. So kids eat what the adults eat. No special dishes for kids. Don't eat the same dish more than once a week. Stop relying on pasta and bread. As we're having pasta tonight.
Yeah. It's been a while though.
Yeah, but it's so delicious. And processed food. So I guess that's like the ultra processed once in a while. So try to shop more at the local markets and get fresh whole foods if you can. in season is good, or those bagged frozen foods or berries. And no complaining about food. So if you complain about something, you have to eat a second serving.
Oh my gosh, really?
Well, that's kind of like, that's a funny thing too, really. But yeah, no, it's just, I think the big message, I think we've driven it home here, right, is listening to internal hunger cues, kind of deciding if you're really hungry and how hungry are you, like using that hunger scale, and only eating to 80% full. It helps reduce emotional eating, and it addresses like coping strategies. So instead of like going to eat that whole thing of ice cream or the whole thing of cookies because you're trying to bury some feelings, that is not helpful. And to just tune into what you really want. Because it's really interesting. If you are, say you wanted jelly beans or gummy bears or something, and if you just gave yourself like the whole bag, and if you were really mindful about how you're feeling on each gummy bear or each jelly bean, you would eat it. And you can actually, we've done this experiment with clients before, and they write it down, and it's so amazing because it's about around the fifth or sixth one they don't want anymore, but they keep going.
I've found that myself too with eating chips or something, you know. Yeah, it becomes like a mechanical response, almost like you're on cruise control, or just it's automatic.
It's like an addiction. So with regards to the hunger scale and helping with picky eating strategies, I know they're kind of, it doesn't seem related, but they are totally related. What are the two take-home messages after all that rambling?
Stop at 8.
At
Not
8.
8 o'clock. Well, that too.
Before 8.
Yeah.
If it's winter.
Oh, we're getting confusing now.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Eat during daylight hours. Don't eat till you're like stuffed like Thanksgiving. And don't snack a lot. I don't know. Is there another one? Important one that you were wanting me to say? I'm just rhyming off a whole bunch of stuff here. So I
think listen to your internal hunger cues is the biggest one, right?
I like the one that I said too about prioritizing your eating, your meal time.
Yeah.
I think
that's
that
the most difficult one.
It really is, but I think if you can conquer that, it would take care of a whole bunch of other stuff in the process.
Mm-hmm. Because I think we're just so distracted and we're so busy. We're driving kids everywhere and doing lots of different things. So the meals are kind of just like...
Yeah, you fit them in when you can.
Yeah, they're not... Yeah,
open a box of something and stick it in the oven, and you all jam it in your mouth when you have time, and then you run out the door to the next thing. And yeah, food is just fuel. It's not an experience. It's not a celebration the way it should be.
Oh, okay. I have to end on a quote from in this book. It's a pediatrician.
Okay. Fun.
Children's food is not fuel. It is made up of intangible culture, words, and shared unquantifiable pleasures as much as calories and vitamins. Dr. Simone Gerber, French pediatrician.
That's quite deep.
It is.
Yeah.
But it's exactly what you were saying.
It's bang on. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like that's the number one thing you said people should
try to work on.
Slow down? Oh, celebrate.
Yeah, celebrate. Make your meal more of a celebration.
Yeah.
Kind of like we do at, Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter, and make it a big deal.
Right.
Well, there you go. That's a whole bunch of tips about a whole bunch of different stuff, and hopefully you can take something home from that and make some changes in your life if you feel you need to. And yeah, enjoy your food, enjoy your meals, let your kids enjoy their meals, all those important things. If you want more information, we do have some blog articles on a few of these different topics we've discussed today. You can find those on our website at mywifethedietitian.com. And while you're there, you can join our newsletter, which is, everyone's raving about our newsletter. People love it. So join the list, see what all the fuss is about. That's on our website too. You can find a join up button on every page of our website. That's a weekly newsletter that comes out end of the week. It's kind of tell you about what we've been doing and what's coming up, and share a few other tips with you. We are also on social media. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and We love hearing your comments in those places. Let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any ideas for the show, any questions, anything like that. We just like hearing your feedback. We really appreciate when you can rate and review the show too. That's very helpful for us and for other people looking for a cool show to listen to. They will read your awesome review and say, hey, that's the show for me. We better check that one out. So if you can do that, that would be much appreciated. And also share with your friends, share with your family, share with your coworkers, share with strangers. We don't care who you share it with. Right? It really doesn't matter. Just everybody needs to hear it. So share with everybody. We'd appreciate that too. So thanks for coming out. Thanks for joining us today. And we'll be back on Wednesday with Nutrition Nuggets. So be sure to join us for that. And until then, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife, the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.